What's your title?
Vice President, Business Banking.
Double ring.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our October 25th meeting of the Valparaiso Rotary. Thank you, Greg Gottschalk, for media today. Greg's Vice President of Business Development at Centaur Bank. Little do you guys know, this is going to be a fundraiser. $20. That was a suggestion. Okay, so, and thank you to our greeters today, Deb Pressel, Matt Evans, and Mike O'Donohue. So we'll start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. And our singers here for the national anthem, raise your hand.
No.
That's okay. Just please help. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, and remain standing for Leslie Plesac to come lead us in an invocation, and Matt on deck to introduce our guests. Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray silently together, each one of us, according to our individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks for our food and blessings for one another. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Let us give gratitude for our opportunity to serve Rotary. Let the feelings of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. With a reminder that our mission is service above self, we express gratitude. Thank you. Amen.
All right, good afternoon, everyone, on a soggy Monday. Thank you so much for a good turnout today, and thanks for bringing some great guests. The first guest we have are sponsored by Dawn, but I actually think it's the other way around. Her parents are with us today, and it's Damon and Sandy. Did I get that correct? Could you two stand up and be acknowledged? Everybody, please say hi to Damon and Sandy. Deb Waffle has brought her spouse along, and Larry's here today. Everybody say hi to Larry.
Larry.
New guest today is Cade Weiler. He's with Latitude Commercial Real Estate, and he is a guest of Diane Jortner. Everybody, please say hi to Cade.
Hi.
Lisa Doherty is here with OTSO today. Lisa is with the Center of Workforce Innovations. Everybody, please say hi to Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
And Michelle Snyder is a guest today of Deb Pressel. She is with GIS, an advisor there. Everybody, please say hi to Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Okay, another real estate specialist. Come on, Jackie. Are you going to introduce our student guest today? Who's now Debbie. Thank you. No problem.
Oh, she asked me to do it.
Next time it's on you.
I know, no hearing aids.
Oh, okay,
But I
okay.
have them in and no batteries, they're working.
Okay. We talked about polio last week. I'm just gonna take this opportunity. I have my nail polish with me, and if you did not get your finger painted and you did not go to the highway cleanup, I expect to see you over there for $1 or whatever you want to donate. I told you guys I was gonna address this issue of the highway cleanup, right, Martin? Okay, so we have two fantastic students from Boone Grove High School, and I'd like to also introduce their guidance counselor, Jennifer Gibbs. Thank you for being here today. And they decided that the gentleman would go first.
Hello, everybody. First off, thank you for the invite. My name is Hayden Neese. I am a senior at Boone Grove High School. I have attended Boone Grove and Porter Township for my entire schooling career, and I have just had a great time. I'm involved in lots of things. I am in student council. I'm the National Honor Society Vice President, and I am also in Natural Helpers. I get to run a retreat with a couple other students, and it's actually next week, so it's crunch time and we're getting ready to go. So I'm super excited. I bowl and I golf for Boone Grove. Have had lots of success the past 4 years, including winning our conference tournament as a team and individually. So that's probably been the highlight of my schooling career so far. Yeah, after college or after high school, I tend to attend either Purdue or Indiana University. I know there was a little feud amongst you guys, but so yes, I wish to attend for environmental engineering. The environment is very important to me, and I want it to be around for everybody to enjoy and to be around for a long time. So, that's really good.
I am Caitlin Jawicki, and I am a senior at Boone Grove High School as well. My parents are David and Carrie Jawicki, and they're both registered nurses at Methodist Hospital in South Lake, like the South Lake campus. I have one brother, his name is Ryan Jawicki, and my sister is Ashley Kukulski. I'm very involved in the school. I'm also going on the Natural Helpers Retreat with Hayden. I'm in National Honor Society. I work with Valpo Life. I'm an author for them. And I'm in student council. I am very involved in softball. And it has been so successful these past 4 years, even though it's been cut short by COVID. But we have gotten sectional championships. We've been conference champions. We've even went all the way to semi-state. Some of the academic achievements that I got are academic all conference, academic honors, and I'll be on the Academic Hall of Fame once I graduate. My career objectives are to go to college for pre-law, and then I would like to continue on to be a children and family lawyer. I'm not going to cause any conflict with all of the schools that I'm choosing because I'm not staying in Indiana. My goal is to go to Chicago. My top school would be University of Chicago, or Loyola University. Also, DePaul University is up there as well, and that is my goal. So, I'm Caitlin.
To highlight of our meetings, to meet wonderful young students, we have a gift for you. It's a book on personal growth. It's always important to have your performance goals, but equally important to have growth goals so that you can handle those big goals you have. So thanks for being here. I think we'll go ahead and induct our new member right now. Doug Watkins, come up please and introduce our new member.
I think you'll agree with me after hearing this that Monticello's loss is definitely Valparaiso's gain. Lee Crow, born in Detroit, Michigan in 1939, he earned a BA from Wayne State and an MBA from Michigan State. A member of the Monticello, Indiana Rotary Club since 2010, he served as secretary, president, and board member from 2011 through 2021. He co-chaired the District 6540 Annual Conference in 2015 and the Rotary State Conference in 2019. He served as assistant governor coordinator, and member of the admin council from 2015 to 2020. Lee's had several Rotary and educational projects to Honduras, utilizing district grants and multi-club partnerships. After several years in hotel management, Lee joined the faculty of Purdue University, becoming promoted to the rank of full professor in 1984. He served as the head of the hospitality and tourism management from 1985 through 1995, retired from Purdue in 2005 with the rank of professor emeritus. He served as president of the nonprofit Schaefer and Freeman Lakes Conservation Corporation. His hobbies are travel and playing golf. He's owned and raced various sailboats on both Lake Freeman and the Great Lakes. A Navy veteran, he's married to Carol, who along with Lee is a Paul Harris Fellow. In addition to 30 years as a resident of West Lafayette, Lee and Carol have lived in Virginia, West Virginia, New York City, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Wellington, New Zealand. They have two grown children, both Purdue graduates, who currently reside in Valpo. They've traveled extensively, leading student study tours to Italy, France, the Netherlands, and England. Please join me in welcoming Lee Crow.
Thank you, Doug. It was great. Let's see if I have my notes in this. I want to thank you for accepting me as a member of this club. I view it as a friendly, vibrant, and financially strong club. And your weekly programs are really, really good. I've been to a lot of club meetings in different clubs as an assistant governor, and this is really a highlight. However, I've got to express to you the interest of truth and that kind of thing, that I was once a Kiwani. I got rid of that in 2010. So,
Good judgment prevailed.
as Doug said, I came to Indiana in 1975. 1975. So I have been a hotel operator up until that time, and stockbroker and various other things. When my wife and I came here to Purdue, and she eventually worked for Purdue also, we established a home in West Lafayette and later bought a cottage on Lake Freeman. So it became time in our retirement that the house on Lake Freeman, we moved into the house on Lake Freeman, but it became a time that it just became too much for us to take care of. So, and we have kids here. My son here resides in Valparaiso, and we got to know the town a little bit. So we decided this was a no-brainer. We'll just move there. A few days after I got here, I met Doug Watkins in the swimming pool at our condo community pool, and we talked about Rotary. And I had remembered that I had met or done Rotary work with 4 or 5 Valparaiso Rotarians in the past year. When I worked as district coordinator of the 18 assistant governors, I had worked with AGs Doug Busby and Doug Mock, and Being an AG in this district is one of the hardest jobs in Rotary. The AGs are really the link between the club presidents and the district governor. Of course, district governors change each year, so there's a lot of changes in direction and that kind of thing to deal with. And each AG is assigned to advise and work with and attend meetings about 4 or 5 different clubs. Busby and Mock are doing great work for the district and the 4 to 5 clubs each one serves. I also found that I had worked with Mary Casca and Busby's wife, Christina Doherty, who had been governor in the past. And we worked on an exchange project with Turkey in 2014. And of course, recently I played golf with a very quiet and introverted Steve Zielkowski. Steve's not here. He keeps saying I cheat, but it's only because my age allows me to move to the forward tees. During arranging for the purchase of my condo, I met Horizon Bank President Mark Ritzy. Mark said he was giving me a great rate on a bridge loan. He told me I was getting the special Valparaiso Rotary Aaron Rodgers loan rate. So I'm not sure that violates the truth aspect of Rotary. After serving as club president of Monticello, I continued my passion for service for the following 6 years by serving as international projects director in my club. My budget line was limited to $1,800 a year. I just think that doesn't buy much, but we decided to target the rural Honduras villages and that kind of thing in Central America. Life is really not good there, and that's why they're heading for our border, I guess. We have since been able to do annual projects of up to 6,500 annually in Honduras by partnering with 2 or 3 other district clubs. Doing those projects, I learned first, to be effective in international projects, clubs do not just need to spend thousands of dollars individually. Clubs should also utilize the $33,000 district grants that are always available and very easy to do. The other types of grants take a lot of red tape, but those district grants are really easy to get. And clubs should partner with a couple of other clubs. By doing that, we kept the per club cost to an average of about $1,500 per project. That allowed us to do projects costing up to $6,500. It starts to become a pretty good amount of money. We recognize that you can't safely, if you look at Haiti right now, or very practically send Rotarians over to do a lot of the sweat work and construction in places like rural Honduras. You need to have trustworthy in-country contacts or partners to oversee the day-to-day work and purchase materials. These could be neighborhood groups, NGOs, or U.S. expats that are living in Honduras. Our projects usually ended up needing only a trip by 1 or 2 Rotarians for finalization and putting up the plaques. This year we partnered with 2 other District 65 40 clubs and an NGO called Canadian Peacekeepers to supply computer equipment and software to enable them to add a junior high curriculum to an elementary school in the small city of Santa Cruz de Yohoa. 2 years ago, with 3 partnering clubs, we built an addition to a 2-room schoolhouse to hold computers at Camp Bay on the island of Roatan. We outfitted it with used computers from the Logansport Hospital and software provided by Canadian Peacekeepers. 3 Rotarians went over to do the final hookup, and my wife Carol and I went to Camp Bay and did the final inspection. 3 years ago, for the village of Riena, we ended the necessity of villagers to hand carry water from a mountain spring to the village. We built a 1/4-mile long pipe from the high altitude. That's about it.
Thank you, Lee, and I have a gift for you in the back. And welcome. Okay, we're going to go right into our guest speaker now. So our own John Kroger, please come up and introduce our special speaker in our leadership series today. And we'll have announcements afterwards.
Good afternoon. I have the privilege of introducing our speaker today, Chad Dutz, the Valparaiso Fire Chief. Becoming a firefighter was a career Chad was intrigued with back in high school after watching a friend's uncle serve on a local fire department. Originally from Illinois, he moved to Indiana in 1988 when his family relocated to Valparaiso. A 1990 graduate of Valparaiso High School, Chad moved to Florida a couple of years later and attended a 2-year firefighting academy. Returning to the area, he enrolled in an EMT school, thinking the extra certification and teaching would help him get a job on one of the local fire departments. It did. Chad joined the Valparaiso Fire Department in January 1997 and moved through the ranks from firefighter to lieutenant to captain and was named fire chief in 2015. He has been chief of the department for the last 6 years. On your tables, you will find an article from the publication Valparaiso City Talk highlighting recent safety initiatives instituted by the fire department and the police department, who work closely together to keep the citizens of Valparaiso safe. Chad is married to Dana, a Valparaiso High School and Valparaiso University graduate. She works as an ER nurse at Northwest Health. They have 4 children. Nicole is 26, a graduate of North Central College and currently pursuing her doctorate in psychology, and was married on Saturday. And Ian is 14 and attends Valparaiso High School. Amelia is 13 and attends Thomas Jefferson Middle School. And Hattie, the youngest, is 9, attending Cook's Corner Elementary School. Please give our fire chief and my brother a warm welcome.
Well, thank you for having me today. I like to walk around, and so I'm going to kind of move around a little bit while I talk. But I want to thank my sister and my parents are here today. Thank you guys for coming today. And of course, thank Rotary for having me today to talk a little bit about leadership. And really, I'm going to talk a little bit about the fire department leadership and how all that works as we start. And then really some of the mistakes that I really made in leadership when I became the chief in 2015. We're going to kind of go with that. So hopefully, if anybody's aspiring to be in the leadership role, that you can kind of learn from my mistakes as we go on. So really, the fire department is, we start at a task level. We come in as firefighters 24 years ago. 24 years ago, I came in as a firefighter. And really, our firefighters in leadership, we have some informal leaders, but really we cannot even go for a leadership position until 5 years on the fire department. We need to hone our skills, and really the task firefighters are really the ones that use the chainsaws that cut holes in the roof. We start IVs, they use education equipment, and that's really where you're starting at. You start at the bottom just like everybody else. You're the most important piece of the fire department, but we have to learn as we go on and grab more experience like anything else. Usually takes about 10 years until you get to the next level. Our next level really basically is our tactical level. And tactical is going to tell people where they need to cut the hole, where they need to pull the line, and where they need to start the IV. And also with the tactical level is coming a company officer. That's our first line of management. It is a big safety. You're kind of the safety officer. And kind of what we'll kind of define it a little bit is going to the beach is what we kind of talk to. So as a firefighter, you get it ready and you go out to the beach and you don't have no care in the world. You just go out. You have fun, you think about this close, and you think of the next step that you're going to do. And it's a great day at the beach. You're just having a great time, and you push it as far as you can. Now you become an officer, you become at that tactical level, you become a company officer, you're in charge of about 6 people, and you're at the beach. And your thinking is, does everybody have sunscreen on? You know, does everybody have water? Is everybody going to get dehydrated? You know, they're going too far out in that water, they got to come back. The only time that you begin to relax is when everybody's in the car and everybody's safe, and then everybody had a good time. And that's really our first view of leadership in there is safety. Our job can be kind of dangerous a little bit, so we take safety very serious. When we started 24 years ago, we didn't have a lot of training. We didn't do a lot of training. We didn't have the places, and I'm going to call it student going out, the places that we can train. You started the Mac Center. We didn't have anything like that. We did very little training, and we did hardly any leadership training. So as we came in, we were pretty much on the job training. And we had great individuals and great officers, but it was hard for us to do that. And some of the things we recognized in that is we need to change that. How can we change that moving forward? And the next level is the strategic level. When I came to that, we had to change some things because I was not ready to be a leader at the fire department. The task level stuff, cutting holes and chainsaws and I mean, cutting holes with chainsaws and knowing where that is, that was the easy part. We knew how to do that. But how do you lead people? I had no idea really what that was about. So the first thing that we kind of did, and we set up for our young officers and our young people that want to be officers, the first day you come into the fire department, you get this manual. This is our career development manual. This tells you everything that you will need to know for the next 5 to 10 years if you want to become an officer at the fire department. This is what you will learn. It has the certifications you need. It has the college. We partnered with Ivy Tech that helped us get degrees for our paramedic science and also our fire side. So thank you to President over there for that. And that's what we did. We started. We knew that we had a flaw and we needed to fix what we needed to do. And that's kind of what we did. And the reason why is I'm going to explain a little bit why that really came to the forefront of that, because it was my mistakes that I made, that we felt like we had to fill that gap and build leaders of the fire department and not afraid for people to take our spot. Sometimes I think we get afraid that the next person is going to be better than us. And that's what we should hope for as going through leadership. So really, it kind of started back in 2015 for me. I was captain, and then our chief was Dave Nondorf, who was battling cancer at the time. And Mayor Costas came and he appointed me chief in 2015. And at the time, I thought the biggest thing I did, I went out like everybody else. I went to the internet and looked at how to do leadership. And I also bought a lot of books. You know, the two most things looked on the internet is the Bible and leadership. And so I thought I'd arm myself. I thought, okay, this is going to be easy. I can handle this. I can do this job, and I'm going to make take some low-hanging fruit. And in that low-hanging fruit, everybody's going to love me. And this is going to be the greatest thing, and it's going to be a piece of cake, and it'll be great. And boy, did I learn pretty fast. That's not how it goes. You know, we always say firefighters like two things. Firefighters don't like two things. We don't like change, and we don't like how things are. And so I learned that really fast in going to this. And I thought, man, I'm doing good. I got this. We made some changes that everybody wants, but not everybody wanted that. So it was hard for me at first to really understand what I was doing wrong. And so then the negative thoughts start creeping in. With those negative thoughts, you know, it almost comes to the point of us versus them mentality. And that's one thing you don't want to do. And I started looking at books and I started reading a couple of things. And one of the things I saw, there's a Christian author named Stephen Furtick, and he says the chatterbox. He uses this term, the chatterbox. So every day we have about 6,000 thoughts a day. And out of those thoughts, 80% of those are negative. And that was a thing that we had this inner critic, and this inner critic just keeps coming at us and at us and at us and tells us what we're not doing right. And it tells us, you know, people aren't listening and people don't like that idea. And that was the biggest thing for me, was that inner critic. It was coming at me full force. And I didn't even realize it was there, you know. So I started to look and how can I handle this? How does this need to be handled? And so I was looking and I recognized that first you got to recognize that it's there. We all have it. We probably have it today. It's going to happen today. It's going to happen in your marriage. It happens at home. It happens at work. It's always constantly there. And that's average 80%. We all know some negative people, it's probably more than that. But at the same time, we know we got to recognize it's there. We got to stay calm and we got to shut that down. But how do you do that? And that was a journey that I kind of started going on. So I was kind of struggling. I had some things. So I went and Ellen would know, Chris Gonzalez is our chaplain. And I had coffee with him one day. And when I was talking to Chris that day, I was complaining. And that's what I was doing. I was really complaining about why nobody was listening, why nobody was getting this, and what am I doing wrong and all this stuff. And Chris, I like to talk, so I think it was a pause, it was brief. And Chris came in and said, 8 words to me that kind of changed things. And he says, you first need to learn to lead yourself. And then he said, I sat there for a minute and he repeated it. He said, you first need to learn to lead yourself. I think at first I probably thought a bad word I wanted to say to him. And it was like, what do you mean by that? And I don't understand. You're supposed to listen to me and, agree with me. And that's not what he did. He told me that so I started looking, what does that mean? What does that mean? I didn't even know really what that meant, but I knew it must be something that I'm missing in my leadership style that I had to change. And so I started going in and investigating things. And another person I talked to was Sean Evans at the Nazarene Church. And he recommended this book. It's called Canoeing the Mountains. I'm not sure how many people have read that, but Canoeing the Mountains. And I started looking at that and reading. It was different leadership book that I had. It wasn't about building a team. It wasn't about, getting the right people on the bus. It was different. And it said this quote. And when it said this quote, I was kind of at first, and I'll talk about that. I was like, what are you talking about? But it says leadership is about disappointing your people at a rate they can't absorb. And it said again, leadership is disappointing your people at a rate they can't absorb. And at first, of course, we all thought, that's crazy. We can't disappoint everybody. That's not what we're doing. We disappoint people. That means failure, right? And so I kind of blew it off. And then I started thinking about it. To disappoint people is risky. That's a risky venture. And how much is enough? Or how much do you disappoint people? I think those are the questions that I started struggling with and looking at. And so when we looked at disappointing too much, they won't follow you anymore. And they'll turn on you. But at the same time, if you disappoint them too little, you're not going to lead them anywhere. And that's the challenge of that. Really, in a leadership position, you're kind of a change agent of, moving forward. And the fire department was going through a big change in 2015, 2016. We just started being in fire territory, which meant that our money came from the fire territory. We were no longer financially tied to the city of Valpo. We started with $0. And so there was a lot of changes that we had to be made. Also, in the Canoeing the Mountains book, it really starts, and it's kind of about Lewis and Clark and their journey into an uncharted territory onto the west. And what that looked like. They didn't have a map. They didn't have any of these things going out west, but these individuals came alongside them and trusted them and went with them, even though they didn't have anything. But they also had a vision and had some conviction there. And so moving forward with that, I learned that change and disappointing people aren't necessarily afraid of change. I mean, they're afraid of the position that they may lose. They're afraid of the status that they might lose. And they're afraid because of comfort. But we have to challenge them. As leaders, it's our responsibility to challenge them and to move them into the right direction. But we also, in taking them to that uncharted territory, we also have to have a plan. We have to build that map, is what we have to do. And so there's 4 steps that kind of breaks out that we started building our map from. It was to stay calm, stay convicted, stay connected, and stay the course. We kind of already talked about staying calm. Staying calm is that chatter in the chatterbox. That thing, that inner critic that's going to come at you, and the decisions you make, some people aren't going to like. And what's going to defeat you the fastest is that inner critic. It's not going to be them. It's going to be this inner critic that keeps telling you that you're not worthy of this, or you shouldn't be, you have no idea, you have no business being in this leadership role. That's the thing that we have to stay calm with and understand and realize that that's just what it is. It's just talk. We also have to be convicted. We have to have a conviction to our mission statement. For the Valpo Fire Department, we've been around since 1867. Our mission statements change multiple times, and as it should, when you come in and you got new challenges, you should change your mission statement. If your organization doesn't have a mission statement, or if you have a small business, if you have just core values, they're so important It tells everybody what your conviction is. The Valparaiso Fire Department and any fire department in the service in the country, we have one that's been around for 200+ years. That's to save life and property. That is our core mission at the Valparaiso Fire Department. But we also have our own mission of what we have to do for our personnel so they can follow us and go with us and be part of what we're doing. And we have 4 things in our mission statement that we break down. We challenge the status quo. We do cost-effective savings. As the territory became, we don't need money, we got to do that. We also have embrace technology that helps us save money that way. And we also have remember our traditions. Our traditions are very important in the fire service. Like you said, we've been around 1867. Just a quick little plug. On Saturday, we have a statue that's going downtown. And the redevelopment helped us just honoring those in the past. We have multiple fires downtown. So 11 o'clock on Saturday, if anybody's available, come and see our new statue that honors and commemorates the fallen firefighters that we've had over the years, the firefighters that we have now that still serve. You know, those are the things. When we started putting this mission statement out, when we felt like, oh my gosh, it's starting to work, is we had a meeting one time and we had a meeting with our EMS group, and they wanted to try something out of the ordinary, out of the box. They came to us and they pitched this idea. And I remember sitting there thinking, well, we've never done this before. I don't think this is right. And one of the guys stops and says, remember the mission statement? Chief, we're challenging the status quo. And you're like, oh my gosh, we are doing that, aren't we? So you're like, exactly. But at that time, you're like, yes, we're moving in the right direction and people are coming aboard with us. And that's what we wanted. We also have to, in these, is you gotta stay connected. You know, that is the big thing. People anymore, I think what we found is they like to talk to you. You know, we get tied up in our offices. We have a lot of stuff going on, but the one thing that we forget about is we have to make that contact with people, with our people. We have to go out and see them, even if it's 5 minutes. And you walk, for us, if you walk in the fire station and you say, hey, how's it going? How's your family? What's going on? That's more than anything you can give them. That's more than the nicest bunker gear. That's nice trucks. And anything is time. They just want to be present. And I think sometimes we all get, like I said, we get stuck in our offices and we forget that. But that's incredibly important. And also, you know, you go out there and you empower people and you find their allies and you find these people that are going to go and take the department to the next level. You find the next leaders and you start to encourage them. You give them books and you give them manuals and you encourage them to take these courses to be the next leaders. And we can't do that sitting behind our desks. We have to go out. And that's one thing that I learned, because that's what I did when I first, I'm like, okay, this is my job as a strategic level. My job now is to provide resources on the scene to make sure people can mitigate it and also buy the equipment so they have the best equipment out there. And I forgot what it was like to be in the station a little bit. And we have to get out and do that. We also have to find our quads. And what I mean by that is there's a story that was shared by the pastor, and he said about the board members. And there's this well-respected, well-liked individual. He said his name was Claude. And every time he came up with a new idea or a new vision or a new way to do things, Claude would always be in the room and he'd be sitting around the table. And the first thing people did when he put this new idea out there is they look at Claude. And Claude would either say, yes. And majority of the time he said it was no. And so there was no traction. There's nothing was moving forward. Even if he had these fabulous ideas, Claude was always there. And so we all have Claudes. We all have Claudes in our businesses that we need to do. And we need to empower those individuals. So they're not a negative, they're a positive, but we just have to recognize who those Claudes are. So what he started to do is he went to Claude and he would meet with him before the meetings, and he would really lay out his plan, and he would engage with Claude. And that's all Claude wanted. Claude wanted to understand what was going on and how it was moving forward. And all of a sudden, when he had Claude in, he empowered him. He became an ally. And when he went to those meetings and he had these new ideas, Claude wasn't afraid anymore. And he was his advocate. He was his champion for these new ideas. And so when he looked at, the members looked at him, he nodded yes most of the time, and things started to move. Like I said, we all have our closets. We got to find those out there. They are definitely one of the biggest assets that we can have. You know, we also have really stay the course. And I think that's probably my biggest failure a lot of times is I do not like to wait for anything. And my wife drives my wife nuts, but I do not like to wait. I'm ready. Hey, let's get this done, and then let's go off to the new shiny thing. It's very, I get distracted very easy to do that. And as we lay out the course or our map that we did, and we had those 4 practices, those 4 things we talked about, it's easy to get off that track and start something new. That's the biggest thing that derails our leadership, is when we bounce back and forth to different things. We have to stay the course. We have to have an idea. People don't like change, but they also like consistency. And if you stay the course in that, they'll follow you, even though they're really worried about the change. But if you keep, okay, we're going to do this one day, and then we're going to do this the next day. People don't really like that. They want that consistency. Stay the course. That is huge. And really, as we're getting ready to wrap up, I know you guys are wrapping up 1 o'clock, and we'd like to have some questions. If you guys have some questions, talk about the fire department. I can talk to the fire department all day long. And I would love to talk to you about it. But you know, I think in the leadership that we've done over the years is we've really tried to make an accession plan, and that's the thing. We rent our spots that we're in. That's what we say. We rent our spots, and so we have to create the new leaders. We have to give them the tools and the power and the book. So I encourage everybody just to do that, to invest in somebody, to see somebody out there that you think could be the next leader, and invest in that person. You know, have coffee with that person, and share your experiences with that person, and you know, have books for them. I know Stuart has that Radical Candor book I think he's talked about before, you know, and so, but invest in those and be a mentor, be the mentor, the best mentor that you can possibly be. And so again, I just want to thank you very much. I hope you got a little bit out of that. Thanks for having me, and I really appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, we have time for questions.
Can you hang around a few minutes?
Yeah,
again?
we can do that. So thank you very much, everybody, and look forward to talking to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for reminding us that leadership isn't just position, seniority, or strategy. It's actually influence, building yourself and others. And Chad, we have a gift for you. We'll be giving to the children, the library in town, a children's book with the topic, some kind of leadership topic. Thank you. Okay, announcements. We want to announce that our basket for the scholarship recipient students is full. Barb Bakos generously donated everything on the list in honor of her father, who recently passed away. So thank you, Barb. She's on Zoom today, along with some others. Hi, everybody on Zoom. Remember to bring a visitor this month? Quick announcement about the Veterans Program.
Quick. Veterans Program, posters are still available. I'm gonna take this a step further. Deb wants your purple pinky. She wants you to make up. If you didn't go get the garbage picked up, that's fine. I want you to come buy a ticket or a table. A table would be even better. So ticket sales are moving along. We've got about another week and a half to go. So please, if it's possible for you to attend to it, or if you want to be a good Samaritan like Greg Gossage and Stu Summers, buy a ticket that we can give to a veteran. So that would be great too. So thank you guys for making your donations on that. Also, you know, a good way to promote this is, I know you all are on social media in some form or another. So if you would promote the program on your own social media, that would be helpful. I know our Rotary group sees it, but outside of that, I'm not sure how far it's getting. So we appreciate your help with that too. So anyway, it's going to be a great program, and we want you to be there. And Deb, you're doing stuff. Aren't these fire trucks and stuff really cool as you put on the table? Very good. So thanks, Deb.
Take a toy. They're little stress toys. If you pull them back, they'll race across your desk at work. Also, next meeting is the roundtable mentoring and discussions. Please come to follow up on today's presentation. That was so wonderful. Let's give Chad another. Stand up here so people can talk to you after the meeting. And any other announcements? Deb, are you still collecting for the Polio Plus? Come up here on this side, so if anybody wants to get a purple pinky over there for $1 or $2 for the Rotary Polio Plus program. Okay, let's, no Zoom next week because of the roundtable discussions. Okay, let's close with the 4-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Is it fun?